The storm raged on, waves crashing against the rocky cliffs with a fury that shook the very foundation of the lighthouse. Inside, Nicholas stood by the lantern room, gripping the railing as he stared into the darkness. Somewhere beyond those monstrous waves, a ship was struggling. He had one job: to keep the light burning, but tonight fate would test him like never before.
Nicholas had always been drawn to the ocean. As a child, he would spend hours watching the waves roll onto the shore, fascinated by their endless rhythm. His father had been a lighthouse keeper and his grandfather before him. It was more than just a job, it was a legacy. When Nicholas turned 25, he took over the responsibility of the Black Ridge Lighthouse, standing tall on the rugged coastline. The lighthouse was more than a towering structure. It was a guardian of the sea, a beacon of hope for sailors lost in the abyss of night. For years he lived in solitude, his only companions being the howling wind, the crashing waves, and the flickering flame of the lighthouse lamp. He found peace in the silence, a sense of purpose in knowing that his light could save lives. But then, one fateful night changed everything. It started as a distant rumble. Nicholas had seen storms before, but something about this one felt different. The winds picked up speed, rattling the windows. The waves grew monstrous, slamming against the lighthouse with terrifying force. As he climbed the spiral staircase to the lantern room, he saw a distress signal, a ship caught in the storm, its lights flickering in the distance. Nicholas knew what he had to do. He adjusted the lamp's intensity, making the light cut through the darkness with greater force. If the sailors saw it, they could navigate toward safety. Then came the sound that sent a chill down his spine, a desperate knock on the lighthouse door. Nicholas hesitated. The lighthouse was isolated. No one ever came here, especially in the middle of a storm. He ran down the stairs and opened the door only to find a man drenched and shivering. "Please, help me," the man gasped. "My boat crashed against the rocks. The waves pulled me in." Nicholas dragged him inside, offering him a blanket. The man, barely able to speak, collapsed near the fireplace. Nicholas had saved him, but then he looked back at the tower. The storm was worsening. The light needed constant adjustment, or it would fail, and if it failed, the ship outside would be lost. A terrible realization dawned upon him. If he stayed downstairs to care for this man, the ship out there might not make it. But if he left the man alone in his weak state, he might not survive the night. Which life was more important? The one he had saved, or the one still fighting for survival in the ocean? Nicholas took a deep breath. His father had once told him, "A lighthouse keeper's duty is to all, not just one." He had to go back to the lantern room. He grabbed a thick coat, wrapped it around the man, and moved him closer to the fire. "Stay here, I'll be back." With that, he sprinted up the stairs, the wind whistling through the cracks of the old structure. His hands worked quickly, adjusting the lamp's angle, making sure the light shone strong and clear. Through the window, he saw the ship turning, navigating towards safer waters. Hours passed. The storm finally began to die down. The ship had made it. Nicholas exhaled in relief, but then his heart clenched with worry. He rushed back downstairs. The man by the fire was barely conscious, his breathing shallow. Nicholas knelt beside him, whispering, "Hold on." Morning came with a golden sunrise, casting a warm glow over the ocean. The storm was gone, leaving behind broken branches, scattered debris, and a strangely peaceful silence. Nicholas had managed to keep the man alive through the night, feeding him warm broth and making sure he didn't lose consciousness. When the man finally opened his eyes fully, he whispered, "You saved me." Nicholas smiled faintly. "I saved many." Later that day, a rescue team arrived. The man, whose name was Samuel, was taken to safety. Before leaving, he turned to Nicholas and said, "I owe you my life, but more than that, you taught me something. Even in the darkest storm, one light can save many." In life, we often face difficult choices, decisions that test our values, our purpose, and our very humanity. Nicholas chose duty over comfort, responsibility over hesitation. We may not all be lighthouse keepers, but in our own way we hold a light that can guide others. Whether through kindness, leadership, or simply standing firm in the face of adversity, we have the power to be a beacon for those lost in the storms of life. The question is, when the moment comes, will you keep the light burning?